Welcome to Linebreak One Day podcast. Completely forgot my own title.
Yeah, I think this is awful. I think
Yeah.
you're gonna have to get post production staff to have a look at that.
to fix that. Anyway, Ed's with me.
Hello.
It's kind of sums up Linebreak that on our 2-year anniversary podcast, I fluffed the intro.
Yeah, well, and also there's no Sav or there's no Harble or CC. We've got to have some Harble and CC.
Oh, this can be part 2 of 4 or something because I've done an episode with Adam.
In that case, we've got to try and entice Barbs back then.
Oh, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
He was on. He was on an episode.
We had him as a guest, like a few months back.
Yeah. So this is 2 years on since we started Linebreak.
Well, roughly.
Wow. Yeah. It was in May. And that's when we made the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that was... What was it? It must have been... because it was leading up into the internationals, because I think it was... I don't know whether it was CC that suggested it, or someone wanted the match threads on Reddit to be more updated more often, and while you can have a version of Reddit that does auto-update, someone suggested set it so that we could be more live than we were when we chatted with each other. And then we tried that for a bit, and we realised it was shit.
It didn't.
And then you got us onto
log
Curse.
any of our conversations. If you switched off when you were on Sedit, you couldn't see what had been posted before you logged on.
Piece of shit. Sorry. Fuck's sake. Oh.
That might be Ed's.
That's
something.
my tablet that's just completely shit the bed. I keep doing it. Sorry. Fuck, that's annoying. Sorry. Carry on. Ignore me. I'm fine.
I don't think that even affects the.
It doesn't. Not even remotely. I'm just browsing, and it's just been a shit. So it's just pissed me off because it's old and whatever. Carry on. So yeah, we moved from Sedit to Curse.
We'll mark this one as explicit. So yeah, we were on Sedit, but that was kind of the whole of Reddit, wasn't it? That wasn't.
Yeah, so it's just a kind of an IRC version of Reddit, I think.
Yeah, but that was there was a lot of people using that, and that was quite fun for a bit. But
yeah, but it was like 3 days, and then we thought, this isn't great. Let's do our own thing and be our own thing.
Yeah,
and it was me and you and CC and Harble, and I don't know whether it was all 4 of us together or 3 of us, and then one of us came along after.
I was pretty much all. I mean, I can't really remember, but I think it was all of us. It felt like us 4. We were the ones using it the most.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think it was Shadowing Lemma and...
Was it?
It might have been Fov. I don't know. There were a few people kind of drifting in and out.
Fov came a long while in, because we had... I don't know what name whether it was... I can't think of a name, and Bryce Lawrence were also the same person.
Oh, yeah.
God knows what Alex's usernames were at the time, because he's had like 20.
Yeah, because he's got a serious back-end podcast out of it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So that was interesting. So yeah, we moved to Curse, where we spent a long time on.
We were on that for a long time. Yeah.
It was kind of strange though, because I never heard of it before, and then.
But didn't you do it with like a?
It was like a
Smite.
game.
What's Smite?
Yeah,
Isn't that what you had?
I used it for a gaming thing, and it was kind of like, this works, so we used that. And then I think it was when Alex got involved. He was like, "You guys are idiots using this gaming thing. Why not use a professional thing?" Which was Slack.
Yeah.
So we've kind of migrated. This is nothing to do with rugby, but that yeah.
No, but it's to do with us being 2 years, unless you actually wanted to talk about rugby, in which case.
Well, yeah. So we're now a fully autonomous organisation with a website, with a podcast, with analysis, with Ed ranting about the Welsh. Yeah,
and I do it so well, so it's nice that we've found a platform for that.
Yeah, and I like that we've got this drop in, drop out kind of. If you've got a spare moment in your life, for example, now I've just come home from work, I've got a spare hour, so we jumped on.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything, so why not?
Yeah.
But I'm quite impressed that it's been 2 years. Because I don't know why I had it in my head that it was much later in the year, but I'm pretty sure I had the exact same thought last year as well. But I suppose it's just because that's when we started getting more active and more doing stuff. Because I think our first actual proper thing must have been, what was it? It was the Sevens, wasn't it?
It
And
was
we
in
were,
it
we
was
were
in
all
July. We didn't do
horribly
anything.
misogynistic over the various captains of the women's teams, I think.
The women's sevens.
That was how we bonded over one of our first videos.
That, to be fair, in terms of, because we were actually watching something and just talking.
I quite liked how that worked.
That one was a really good podcast, actually.
And we did, I think we did some alternate commentary during the Rugby Championship.
None of which is recorded.
Which was something we've not done since, which I'm really disappointed in because I thought it was good fun. Despite the fact that I had friends over when I recorded my half, and the match was on at like 1 or 2 a.m. And so I was trying to subdue myself from getting too overexcited while watching the rugby, and also make sure that while commentating I wasn't speaking too loud to wake up people in the next room.
I enjoyed those alternate.
Yeah, it was good. So we've still got avenues that we can go down if we ever decide to go back to.
Would certainly be an interest.
It's gone on because we've got, we had the regular crappy podcasts and now we've got the Monday podcasts. We have a website, believe it or not. Some people might not know that because quite frankly, you'd never know it from the work we put out. What else?
We're grinding out article after article, Ed. Come on
absolutely. But we also, some of us, you've met Fred. I've met you and Fred, and Alex and Adam. Because didn't you go to a Sevens thing with Fred or something?
We went to the Club Sevens at the Stoop.
Yeah. Me, you, and Alex. Was it? Yeah, it was me, you, and Alex went up to the Calcutta Cup and met Adam, who was there with another group.
Yeah, that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, it is all pretty.
You and Fred came here and we did a kind of a local podcast, which I really liked because it kind of worked better.
Episode 19, the waffles one, whatever waffles.
Yeah, when I made I didn't make waffles, but I made donuts and cookies. Not donuts, muffins and cookies.
Muffins. You made muffins and cookies, and we used those muffins and cookies to. I can't remember. Was it the offside line or something? What were we? Or a defensive line?
I think I was trying. I used them to kind of. Was I trying to explain Barrett's intercept when they played France?
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah,
that might have been it.
I thought I had Sevilla, like a Sevilla thing in my head, but I think it was Barrett.
Yeah.
So that was quite good actually.
So it's we've come a very long way. It's quite decent.
It's becoming more consistent, which I think is the idea.
Well, roughly, we do still go a couple of weeks every now and again without recording anything, much to many of our own annoyance.
There are gaps. We get busy. As I explained this in part 1, but we don't get paid. And finding time outside of work and other commitments, is going to be hard work for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and rugby is kind of what drives us, alongside the fact that we've all become decent friends and good friends out of it, really.
Yeah. Now the next step is like actually meeting Fov.
Going to New Zealand.
Yeah, we've got to get, Linebreak's got to have more outings. That was something I was going to bring up as well. Because the fixtures have been announced for the next 2 Six Nations Championships.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, going to mention that I hope you can swing us some tickets so that we can have a jaunt off to Italy or France or somewhere.
Oh, that'd be a great idea. Actually, I think Italy. Is it away? It's in Italy.
Yeah.
Italy
first
away.
Weekend of 2018 Six Nations. Italy versus England is the Sunday match. First weekend.
We wouldn't get CC and Harbour along to an England-Italy game, though, would we?
Yeah, maybe not.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, we could. I'll talk. Yeah, we can talk to them about it because I think going to Italy would still be quite cool.
Or we
they could swing it. They could swing it with respective partners. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're going to Italy. Also, there's a rugby game on. But yeah.
Quite frankly, realistically, I'd just be going for the pizza and ice cream, and the rugby would be an afterthought.
Linebreak go on tour for pizza and ice cream.
We could start live blogging.
We could play I think we could probably do a little touch game against a local team out there, probably as well.
Oh, that means you'd have to get me to actually do some kind of physical activity. That sounds
That
frightful.
would. I think Fred would enjoy that as well. That would probably get Fred in.
Yeah, well, Fred plays, doesn't he?
Yeah, he tried some
Well, I know he
AFL
coaches, but
at the
I thought he
weekend.
did. Though, yeah, we've got to have some kind of team because Harble does touch very occasionally. Actually, I don't know whether he still does that. You actually do play. Fred kind of plays.
Fred plays, yeah.
If I can get my weight under control, maybe I can actually look towards having an ambition to play again.
You could have some. There's easily touch set up. I'm trying to think. Alex plays lacrosse. I don't think he's dabbled.
One, yeah.
I don't think he's dabbled back into the world of rugby again. But I don't know about CC. Did CC? What's CC's playing experience? I have no idea.
I doubt it.
So yeah, 2 years of talking absolute nonsense to each other.
Yeah, and it somehow worked.
And it is all through Reddit. I think that's something that we sometimes overlook quite a lot. I mean, we talk about lots of different things, but I think Reddit's always been our go-to.
Yeah, I mean, even then, though, we get kind of... that's been fairly... Well, similar but different, because I've been on the Rugby Union sub since the 2011 World Cup, which is a bloody long time now.
That was a bit of a length, isn't it? That.
Yeah, that makes you think. What is it? It's 2017 now, isn't it?
What a waste of a life.
Yeah, isn't it just?
And I've
we
probably equally.
I'll tell you what we should have done. If we'd started up Linebreak 2 years earlier, I could have, had some kind of proper impact from when I went to Oz.
Oh, the Lions trip would have been really good. Yeah, I got given just randomly. I was in the training. After training. One of the boys at the rugby club just gave me a 2013 Lions top that didn't fit him anymore.
I really like that shirt. I got given one as a going
really
away
nice.
present when I left my job a couple of weeks before I went to Oz for that tour. Bloody nice present.
He just said to me, "Oh, I got it in a medium, but I don't fit it anymore. He's got a bit big."
Oh right. And you're still a bit of a lanky
So he just threw it at me, and I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll have this Lions top." I did think to myself, you could just lose a bit of weight and then you'd fit it, but he was fine.
That sounds like far too much trouble.
He just so I mean I was just getting thrown gear, and I've now got is it the cherry blossoms? Oh,
that's one of the shirts I want most.
I've got the Japanese top now.
Because
I have a friend who works in a sports shop and he managed to order it from Canterbury for me.
Yeah. Oh, that. I wish I'd known that. Did you get it for a decent price at all, or just?
It was a small because there's a club discount in his shop, so I just got it for the club discount, which is not amazing, but it was good enough. Yeah.
I was going to say
dropped to tenner or something.
What's it? 2015 World Cup. All I wanted in the months leading up to that was a Japanese shirt, because I've enjoyed watching them since about 2010.
They've been great fun.
And then they kind of exploded after that tournament, and now it instantly became impossible to find one of their shirts. And I would have been fine with one of their away shirts as well, because that is just really sexy. It's blue and black rather than red and white. Very cool. And I don't think they wore it once during the World Cup, which I found a bit peculiar.
It's weird because normally there are like each team plays once in their away kit to kind of sell it,
to justify that they've actually had one made. Which is why we run out once a year in blue or red or whatever.
Purple.
I like the purple. To be fair.
The alternate purple strip that we had. I just remember Haskell running around in that purple gear.
But I just think also it would be, in fact, I've brought this up a few times before, just to go slightly rugby centric. I think it would be quite interesting if maybe you couldn't pass it off during the Six Nations because it's a bit too stooped in tradition, and so if England ran out in a kit that wasn't white, people would be a bit annoyed. But particularly because we only generally wear the away kit once, and that's during the Autumn Internationals against either Samoa. I think we wore the purple against Australia actually a couple of years ago. We wore. I tell you what, we wore when we played Samoa a couple of years ago. It was blue shirt, red. Was it blue shirt, red shorts, or red shirt, blue shorts? Red shirt, blue shorts.
Yeah, red shirt, blue.
And yeah, anytime we play Fiji, but I think when we have a 3-match series in the summer, we're
You think
taking
one of
lots of
those
shirts
one of
anyway.
those should be away?
Yeah, why not have an away one just to mix things up and make it different?
So you reckon
We're not going to clash.
the three game tour in Oz, one of those we should have worn the away top?
Yeah, because we had, what was it? Were we blue then, or were we still on whatever the last one was, red? So it wouldn't have clashed with their bright yellow, not gold. I think
fundamentally
yellow.
The point is that we can't really remember we know what the away tops kind of look like, but we can't really remember.
I'm usually
what
decent.
year's what,
It was, I'm not too bad at it. I'm probably better at it than I should be. Because we had 2011 World Cup, we had black and pissed off journos wanting to make, some clickbait rather than any proper rugby fans. Then we had the purple, and then we had the red and white stripes, which was terrible because where the O2 logo was just a massive white stripe, disproportionately bigger than all the others, and it looked shit. Then we had the red shirt, blue shorts, and then we had, I don't know, whatever we had then. Because now it's black, but it's whatever.
I'm not one to to follow the shirts, but I do like the cherry blossom, so I decided to spring for it because I've never had. Well, no, I say a lie. My granddad bought me the pink extra top, so.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So that was quite a nice little birthday present a couple of years ago. But I've never really owned club gear like that. I've always all the rugby gear I've got is kind of I turn up and play, and then eventually I end up with some stash as the.
I only got my first Harlequins shirt for my last birthday. Before that, I had a Lions shirt, an England shirt, and an Australia shirt.
All right. So there you go.
Yeah.
We could talk about rugby. Should we talk about Saracens?
Saracens. Oh, I watched that game. It was quite good.
I didn't see the game, so you're going to have to explain to me in great detail.
I have to remember all of it.
You have to remember all of it. Because I'm just impressed by the fact that they won and they are so dominant, and Exeter are going to beat them at Sandy Park. That's what I'm impressed about.
Is that your next game?
That's the semi-final, I think.
Oh, right.
I don't know if it's on.
Yeah, they're not going to be resting place for that, are they?
Wasps
got away with that, didn't they?
Wasps, yeah, and.
I
said it in the thread. People kind of misunderstood me in the thread. I said it kind of undermines the regular season when you can rest people and then still win.
Well, yeah, it kind of does.
And everyone was like, well, would they be done not to? And it's like, I'm not saying they wouldn't be done, I'm not saying what they've done is not smart. I'm just saying
if we didn't have the playoffs, they wouldn't rest their players, but they could afford to because also European rugby and whatever. But it's, I was going to say, I actually cannot believe Harlequins have managed to sneak into the Champions Cup next season.
Yeah, that's a bit of rubbish, really. We
even lost the match, but because we managed to scrape a bonus point, which is something we've done precious little of.
It's a nonsense how poor Quins have been and still scraped in.
It just shows that Northampton was somehow even worse.
I'm just wondering.
Which I find shocking.
I'm just wondering, Quins in the Champions Cup, though. That's going to be detrimental.
No, it's going to be awful. It's going to be. I put it this way. At the beginning of this season, I was saying that we could be fighting relegation in the next couple of seasons in the Premiership, and quite frankly, while that might be a bit
dramatic,
a bit dramatic, a bit hyperbolic, I'm still. Our problems aren't going to go away. And I think we have some genuine problems. And we've just lost Evans, and we're going to lose a couple of other players. And quite frankly, I feel worse for Northampton because they're losing Pickermold. But
well, according to the Montpellier CEO or whatever.
Yeah. So I'd still love to see him stay in the Premiership.
So would I actually.
Yeah, Harlequins. At least we went out decently.
I'm really not surprised if Pickermold leaves, though.
Yeah, I think he deserves.
Northampton. It's just not really a club where.
Well, I don't know. They did win the Premiership a couple of years ago, didn't they? That was only what.
I'm not. Yeah, but I think they're on a weird trend. They're in a Bath kind of rut where they were once all powerful and now they're kind of like not. They're not in the. So to use a gaming term, they're not in the meta. Their style of rugby is not really the one that wins games at the moment.
And that, I suppose, brings us back around to Saracens. Who we should talk about.
They're creating.
They are. They are. They had an almost try that was just both they. In fact, Claremont scored a try off a similar passage of play where it was just quick hands, quick hands, quick hands. Not even dummy runners, but players, just turning around and offloading before they even go into contact, and shipping the ball out as wide as they can, but through as many hands as they can. It ended all with, I think, Billy Vunipola having a complete charge until about 3 meters short of the line.
Oh yes, I remember seeing the clip now.
And I'm pretty sure it was a similar passage of play that led to Claremont just absolute burning down the wing. Was it? I don't think it was a Bendon on. But whoever it was, Ashton failed to tackle someone.
No, it was. I think Farrell got swatted away by.
Farrell has a habit of going high every now and again.
The rugby league in him comes out a little bit.
He kind of jumps into it. You know that tackle?
Yeah.
Well, I say tackle. A few months ago when he got completely bounced by Ellis Genge. That's not a kind of isolated incident. It happens a few times.
I think the counterbalance to that is that it works very, very often, and he is quite effective in defence. But yeah, when you do see the odd time that he gets swatted like that, it makes you kind of
especially because
wince a bit.
As a 10, he's probably one of, if not the best defensive 10 going. Certainly in the Northern Hemisphere.
He's certainly the most aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another. I can't actually think of another that's as aggressive. In defence as he is.
But I suppose that kind of speaks for the whole of the Saracens team, because as a unit, I don't know if they still go on about that Wolfpack bullshit. I know they have it as a banner hanging down at their stadium, which I found bizarre, but they are the whole team. It's to a man. You know that all those bullshit cliches players give. At the end of the day, gave 110% or whatever. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, every single one of them is clearly giving 110% on the pitch. And it shows. I mean, Ashton's broken the European try-scoring record. He beat out Vincent Clerc. They've become, particularly the Vunipolas, both of them have shed a lot of weight, are a lot more mobile, are somehow more destructive, and have some of the softest hands. Especially considering their size and power.
Every single thread, every single comment section, every single video I have seen to do with Saracens is basically just talking about the Vunipola brothers.
Because they're really good.
And it is rightly so. Because Billy is phenomenal,
it's
and
mad.
Mako is great. I mean, even when you extend it, you've then got Itoje, Jamie George, Farrell.
George Cruz just being an absolute beast. Brad Barrett is still. Granted, he didn't have the most success as a player for England. I do still remember one of the best tackles he ever made was basically stopping Quade Cooper with his face.
Yeah.
And he had like blood raining down his face at the end of that match. But all of them put in such immense shifts.
And I mean, we shouldn't need to clarify this, but I'm going to after two.
Yeah.
If you're listening to a 2-year celebration in isolation, neither of us are actually Saracens fans.
No, we're Harlequins and Exeter, and actually, if you spread it further, CC's Cardiff Blues, Harble is Leinster, Adam is Bath, Alex is Quins, but we all still, I'm fairly sure,
and
in
Fred
agreement.
Is Pal?
Oh no, he's Wasps.
He's
Pal.
Wasps in Aviva,
even though it's
but
Poe.
he's.
I'm sure it's Poe, but it spells Pal.
It is Poe, but it's Pal. Really. Well, it's like Paul.
What even is Biarritz anyway? See, that's an old joke. No one will get this.
No one will get.
Not even the people who started listening at the beginning. Point is, especially, the Vunipola brothers are, I think, just an incredible example to use because how much they have. Actually, Farrell's probably an even better example if I go on that. Farrell's first Six Nations, he picked up basically. I'm sure some Premiership players felt the same way, or some Pro 12 fans who had, some of their local or some of their international teams' players played in teams in the Premiership, played against him, and therefore they saw him. But the Six Nations in 2012 was when he debuted, and that's when he kind of picked up this reputation as being a petulant little dickhead. And I can remember particularly, I can't remember whether it was against Scotland or Ireland, But on their line, ball gets thrown across the line. It's a penalty to England, and he kind of just storms across and just shoves whichever scrum half it was in the shoulder. And I don't know whether they fell down or what, but he nearly starts a fight, and he was a complete knob for no reason. And you could tell that, all the aggression and the passion was there. He just wasn't channeling it in quite the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But now he is one of the most... He still has that edge, but he channels it properly. He's a very good captain every now and again for Sarries or England. There was that great video somewhere with Saracens of Chris Ashton coming to have a bitch at the referee and Farrell yelling at him to get on his wing. Get on your wing.
The most northern voice you've ever heard. It should have been shouting, "I want a pie," but he get on your wing.
But he has matured so much as a player, and you can tell all aspects of his game. I mean, his kicking was, I think, after the third try Sarri scored in the final. I mean, it looks like he was just having a practice. Granted, it was maybe just an inch or two inside the post when it went through, but there was absolutely no... He didn't look like he was under any pressure whatsoever. But it booted the conversion over, cool as you like, and off he runs. And it just seems so easy for him. The fact that he is now, every now and again, captain for Saracens. He's vice-captain for England, and usually the first vice when Hartley goes off. He's all around, he's attacking the line more. He's running from deeper.
Yeah.
I think his kicking in open play has just improved a lot. And so he has... It's kind of indicative of all of Saracens as a team, because that does... From some players you look at... I mean, granted, they still have players like Jim Hamilton, who odds on will most likely get a yellow card, even if he's coming on 70 minutes.
Mm-hmm. 2 seconds, Ed. We're going to have to resync.
Resync? Oh, have you broken it?
Just me and you. I'm just going to pause it.
Okay, minor audio issues, and this time it wasn't me. Hooray for that.
Oh yeah, even though if you
probably was my fault,
difference, but, if you can notice the difference, maybe there's a difference in my audio between the first 25 minutes and the second, however long we record for. I've actually switched on the right microphone.
Well, this will certainly be interesting at any rate.
If nothing, Linebreak is very professional.
Absolutely. Where was I going to go? I was going to kind of finish up talking about Sarries briefly.
I think we were just having a massive love-in about Farrell and Saracens.
Yeah, and we nearly had a love-in over the Vunipolas, and I'd still be quite happy with that.
It took a detour.
But I was then going to move on to the fact that I feel so bad for Claremont and all of its fans. Because when they keep losing. I feel Aurélien Rougerie is one of the few French players I can list among anything close to a list of favourites, and there aren't many of them. Him, Yashvili, Dusatoir's probably up there, Chabal's definitely up there, but I think he's a genuinely fantastic player, and I went and had a look at his wiki page, and he has won only 2 or 3 trophies with Claremont. One was the Brennus Top 14 trophy about 7 years ago, and one was the Challenge Cup, whatever that was, back about 12, 13 years ago, whenever it was. And so and they've made so many finals, like 10 or more. In fact, no, I think I saw someone post that, I can't remember what the other trophy they would have won is, but out of 18 finals they've won 3.
Some really serial choking going on.
It's awful. And when they showed, while I was watching the match, they showed I'm not even going to pretend I can remember or even pronounce where they were, but it showed all of the fans in this great big open area somewhere in France. There were tens of thousands of them just watching on one of the big screens somewhere, and it breaks my heart because it's... And when they show the reactions of the fans up in Murrayfield, when they got so close... Camille Lopez, he missed a kick no player should ever miss in front of the post, because it sailed wide by about 1.5 feet, and it was... that would have brought them back in contention or put them ahead. I can't remember, but it was in a final, in a European final. You don't miss those kicks, and it just that kind of sealed it for them because they couldn't come back.
In a reasonably roundabout way, that does. I mean, we kind of both agree about the England group of death thing. That's not a group of death.
I'm all right with it. Other people kind of think I'm crazy, but yeah, World Cup pools were announced. Post-production Sav could even put up the pools on the screen on if we do the video version.
Oh, good God, the horror. He's doing that now, right?
I'm
if he's
all right
not,
with,
then he didn't.
I'm all right with the pool we've got. And granted, for some teams, I can't remember who the third seeds are, but Pool A is Ireland, then Scotland, then Japan. B is New Zealand, South Africa, Italy. And again, people have been going... There's been so much doom and gloom over South Africa, and I do not share in their fans' pessimism because I do not see. Do you remember a while back there was a video that cropped up on the sub about a couple of people were reviewing one of the last video games, and they came onto this. They kept on going on about how in no reality does Japan beat South Africa, and then it happened, and everyone thought it was amazing. Yeah, I will say now, I in a World Cup. After last November, I do not see a reality in which, no matter what Conor O'Shea does, no matter how far Heineken Meyer or whoever it is tries to, bury South Africa all into the dirt, I don't see any reality in which South Africa doesn't make it out of the pools. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen 2 years ago, but it didn't, and so it's not going to. And I feel bad for Italy.
I think Conor O'Shea... I think Conor O'Shea could be cooking something quite interesting in Italy, though.
But then it's we have France and Argentina, and I'll come straight back to us, and then it's Pool D is Australia, then Wales, and then I want to say, is it Georgia who are third seed?
Right,
and it's again, I don't think. I do understand the pool of death, and I understand how it works as a concept, and it's. And again, I may joke about the whole, I'm pretty sure that never happened whenever anyone brings up our performance in 2015. And I get that after 2015, I should be so much more careful about what I say, and I should be a lot more measured with regards to my thoughts on England's chances, especially because I am generally an eternal pessimist. I suppose because it happened last time, I don't see it happening again. And it's granted, I know Argentina kind of completely pulled their finger out during the World Cup and are a team that they don't appear to be in the 3 years in between.
Argentina, to me, are...
They're an interesting... They've got the big boys to play against in the Rugby and Championship, and they are improving because they've now got wins against South Africa and Australia.
And the Jaguars are playing well.
Granted, I'm sure this summer will be the biggest test because a second-string England side will face a second-string Argentinian side.
And I think the Argentinian depth is far worse. They've only got the one.
But I'm just thinking about the fact that
sort of thing.
Last November we beat them with 14 men. Elliot Daly went off in the 3rd minute or the 4th minute.
Yeah.
And then the only time they scored tries against us was when another one of our players got a yellow card and we were down to 13 men. And so, while, again, this could... clearly someone in 2 years' time can come back and have a listen to this and then just completely pillory me in the comments about how much of an arrogant Englishman I sound. But whatever, Argentina are France's bogey team in the World Cup, or one of their bogey teams, especially after 2007, where it was beaten in the pools and beaten in the third-place playoff. But we don't have the best record against France, but we have a positive record against France. And in a World Cup, with where we are at the moment as a team, what Eddie is doing with the team, France aren't in the best place at the moment. But this is why I brought it up. Yeah. And I've let you go on
a tangent.
Rein me in, for God's sake.
But that's why I brought it up. I just don't think that the French have a 10 that will win games for them. And I think Lopez, what you were talking about Lopez for Clermont,
It was criminal, is
choking,
what it was.
essentially, and missing kicks. And I just don't think they've got that winning 10 mentality. They've got really good players. In fact, their whole forwards pack is fantastic, and they've got some magic in the backs with Vakatawa and Fiku and
they're
you know,
what's his name? They've got another Clermont player that was just amazing, who I think might have actually been a flanker but played like a.
Gordon. No, he was not. He's not playing for. He's not playing for Clermont. No.
I'll remember it in a minute.
Anyway, so I mean, they've got the French have a good squad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, it's going to be a French squad. It's going to be a good squad, but I just don't think they've got that killer instinct in it. And it's not so much as it's the French flair.
Okay. You mentioned that. I think in a roundabout way, you know, the whole which France is going to turn up, people never know or whatever. I think that's less true of the years in between World Cup and kind of doubly true for during the actual World Cup. Because if you think about, well, I mean, I'm fairly sure they played quite well during the other matches in 2007. I'm just trying to remember back to 2011 when they got beaten by Tonga in the pools, but were very close to winning the whole thing. So they can run very hot and cold, and I think maybe it's just the pressure or whatever, but how did they do in the last World Cup?
I was watching because it was Lomu.
They got absolutely steamrolled by New Zealand, didn't they? By like 9 tries.
Yeah, but that's is what I was thinking of. I just saw Lomu's highlight reel.
Yeah.
Because he would have turned 42 recently.
2 days ago, I think,
and I was just thinking how he smashed through that French defensive line in almost an identical way to what Sevilla did. And I know, obviously, he was a standout of his time. There was no one else doing it like him. Perhaps Sevilla's got quite a few others that could do that. But it was just so interesting to see almost a mirror image of an event happening. And I just thought to myself, like, these are two teams that are obviously, I don't know, they play each other in World Cups and not necessarily that much outside of that. And they go have their ups and downs, but then you have this perfect moment that's almost mirrored, and it's so far apart. I don't know if that's coincidence. It feels really strange to have it perfectly happen again. You know?
I remember a while ago I misattributed the name of it, but what was it? It's called the try from the end of the world, which I think was it Saint-André that scored the try from the.
Was that kick across at the end?
Started in one corner, ended in the other corner, and France scored just one of the most magical tries ever. Or Sella might have been involved. I can't remember. But it just, I don't know why it's come back to me. I've just been reminded. I'm going to have to try and look it up a bit later on. I think it might have been a Montpellier try, possibly with Tranduc at the helm. Must be about 5 years ago or so, if not more. But starting in the bottom right corner and ending in the top left, with a very cool chip move from. I'm going to have to try. No, I'm kind of going off because it come into my head and it started off so vivid.
We talk about little chip moves to take it on another tangent.
But I think it was the ball went over the line. It was tapped down inside the in-goal area and then chipped to another player who then tapped it and went with it or something, and then. It kind of all the way up the pitch to score. I used to enjoy watching Montpellier play. They were very fly. I'm going to dig that up, but carry on.
Okay. I'm just going to... I know the Hurricanes lost to the Crusaders recently at the weekend. But I'd like to make a point to influence... because I think in previous years, Johnny Wilkinson, Neil Jenkins certainly have been influencing Northern Hemisphere children and players.
Yeah.
For a long period of time, for that period of time that they were playing. So we've had defensive and kickers and structured game plan. I now think that we're getting, there are children growing up today that wake up on a Saturday morning before they go and play football or rugby. And they're watching Sky Sports, and they're watching Bowden Barrett, they're watching Cruden, they're watching Sapawanga, Richie Mwanga, and they're watching these flat crossfield kicks and this exciting offload rugby. And I actually think that it's going to change the way that rugby around the world is played, just because it's right in their face and they're seeing these highlight reels. Everybody, even me, I went to training before my hamstring.
Were you trying Bowden Barrett's moves?
I was just doing Bowden Barrett crossfield kicks with the wingers. That's all I was doing.
How much success did you have with that?
I think maybe 1 or 2 pulled off that was even close, and that was out of like 50 kicks. And 1 or 2 were just sweet as perfect kicks. The others were just like the traditional, you kick it really high and then your winger tries to get to it.
Yeah. It's because I think, this is really bad, I need to get this out of my head. When I think of crossfield kicks, I just remember that complete howler that O'Gara had against Scotland a couple of years back.
Just came off the side and it just was not,
Although, that said, New Zealand did pull off a couple of really good ones in the World Cup.
And Cooper did one behind his own line, didn't he?
Oh, that's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Was that to Digby Ione?
Yeah, it for the Reds, behind in the in-goal area, from one side of the pitch to the other. And I think if he just had an extra yard or so of pace, whoever finally had the ball after the passing could have burned up the pitch.
Just brilliant. And
I think, have we seen it? Well, I think we must have seen something at least once in the Northern Hemisphere, but I can't remember it if we have. But I do get what you mean about, different things.
I think it will
people.
influence. I hope anyway that it will influence the style of rugby.
Well, I'm sure.
That's being played.
I'm just thinking it's. Again, I watched Pacific Warriors the other day, and I think it's Nicky Little has mentioned something similar. Johnny Wilkinson definitely does, about how. Well, Johnny Wilkinson mentions about how Pacific Islanders in the sport have changed the sport for the better in the way they play the game. And I think Nicky Little mentioned something about how the people growing up, the players they're interested in, aren't, the All Blacks or anyone up north, but it's all their local boys that can do some of that incredible stuff. So I do see your point. And quite frankly, 100%. if there are young kids over here in the home nations in the Northern Hemisphere who are growing up watching that stuff, and they can take on the qualities of that kind of, that ability and open play. If we start seeing that come into our game for England, for Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and
only
France,
be a positive. Really.
That would be sensational, because it's. I do kind of get the various complaints some people have to a degree. I don't think England are as boring as anyone makes out, and I don't think we ever were as boring as people seem to make out. I think they exaggerated a bit, but I do appreciate
we've always had a big
10-man thing.
Pack. We've always had this focus on a prop needs to be this, but then you get someone like Carl Sinclair who
changes what it means to be a prop.
He's a unit.
Though in fairness,
he runs like he's not.
Yeah, he perhaps an interesting case study, I suppose, or something worth with the way that certain players are coming through. I mean, I suppose you might have one side of the argument when you look at someone like Sam Burgess, who, when he did come over to Union, kind of got seesawed between 12 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get certain players. If you look at, I'm trying to think of any backs. I'm sure there were, because I'm sure when Jonah Lomu started, he was a forward, age grade rather, before he was an All Black. But then you've got Tom Youngs, who was an international hooker, he used to be a centre. Kyle Sinclair, who is now a tight head, used to play fullback. And so you're getting these players who are, and I'm sure a lot of that is perhaps there is a bigger influence there from the Southern Hemisphere teams than the Northern Hemisphere teams, but you are getting players coming through who are a lot more well-rounded. And it's been that way in certainly New Zealand for a while, because I'm sure I can remember us joking about how, the forwards would be playing like backs and backs playing like forwards because they're training together or whatever it was.
I'd be really interested in. I know Parise played fullback as well, way back.
Yeah,
when he was in Italy.
And then you've got we all joke about Johnny May playing 6 or Elliot Daly playing 8 or Mauro Bergamasco playing 9.
I trust Daly to play 8 a lot more than I'll trust
Johnny May
to play anywhere but wing.
Well, you wouldn't even trust Johnny May to play wing.
No, I don't think I would.
I think there is that. It's when you look at players like, particularly Dane Coles. I can remember there was watching through old videos, there was, I can't remember whether it was Zulum or somebody else, but someone did, after a video of all the tries England scored in their undefeated year, someone did, I think it was a lowlights video. You definitely couldn't call it a supercut, but it was every try conceded by South Africa in 2016. And there is this one try that Dane Coles puts a pass out. He must throw it about 30 yards, and it's the flattest pass anyone has ever thrown 100%. In the history of rugby. And it's absolutely mental that a hooker can do that because I'm pretty sure he was running at speed as well. So he caught at speed, passed at speed, put the balls exactly where it had to go. Yeah. The exact right spot for the winner to then score it. And so it's...
I remember watching Healey playing for Leicester at one point, and the commentator applauding him quite loudly and proudly that he gave a really flat to the line pass off his left hand.
Yeah.
And
that's passing rightwards, yeah? Off your left hand when you pass it.
Yeah, so he's passing to the right, out to the winger. And I was just thinking to myself, no commentator nowadays would ever be praising that or talking about it, because it was just
for one. Well, I suppose one thing, scrum was he, because he did play wing for us, and
I think he had 14
possibly
on his back.
Centre and 14 for us as well. But he was primarily a 9, wasn't he? A scrum half.
He was the utility. He was utility but he was scrum half for England.
Yeah.
/
Well, no, I mean I can remember he scored an amazing. Well, no. He started off what turned out to be an amazing try for England against Ireland when he was wearing 14. But maybe he didn't score. Okay, but either way. But no, you're right. You don't see that a lot. But I mean, granted, I don't think I could even start to try passing off my left just because not all the fingers aren't all there.
But it's become
it's a skill
so normal.
Yeah.
It's because Healey, if say for example a fly half or a centre now gave a flat off the left-hand pass, everyone's like, okay, that's fairly normal. Whereas Dane Coles can now do it.
I am thinking you do still occasionally. I'm trying to it's nothing really stands out, but I know I see it a fair bit. You occasionally see some players, they'll catch the ball and rather than pass off their left, will just turn 180 and then pass off their right.
You sometimes see a forward set themselves like that.
I'm sure I've seen backs do it as well. But I think it's more just to protect the ball than anything.
Yeah.
As opposed to a weakness on the passing off the wrong hand.
It gives them a full vision of the game, I suppose, if they spin round. I always think that in moments like that, they're in danger of... Because you can't see what the opposition are doing behind you.
If you imagine Courtney Laws absolutely clattering you through the middle, cutting you in half when you turned around like that.
Yeah, and then there's an intercept or there's players rushing up as well. It's a combination of the two. You've got you're not looking, and then when you pass, you can't see if someone's going to intercept it. So I mean, it's obviously an effective technique. Quite a lot of teams use it, but it does worry me every time I see it. To be honest with you.
Well, yeah, but now I'm wondering whether it...
Anyway, so I mean, we should probably talk about Linebreak a bit more, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's go back to Linebreak. So, yeah.
2 years.
How many of us are there now? A dozen of us?
There's 12 in the chat.
Well, I mean, there are a few people in the chat who I don't know, who are like just there for fantasy.
Oh no. Yeah, so that's true. So we have a fantasy league where we all
there are 10 of us
as well.
10 of us.
There are in the official group. There are 12.
But no, there's me, you.
In the podcast group.
Yeah, in the podcast group. There's it
says 12 members.
Oh, well, are you sure? Well,
yeah, I mean, Barbs,
okay, fine. I'm counting. Don't forget Slackbot.
Barbs is in there. Oh, it's Slackbot in there.
Well, I'm including Barbs. It's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's 10.
Okay. Who have you not got?
I don't know. Who have you got that I don't? Unless someone came on with another name. Oh, wait. I don't have Rich there. I don't have Rich.
You don't have Rich.
Why don't I have Rich?
See, this is kind of an explanation of, I'd say, Linebreak generally. Because we have such a drop-in, drop-out sort of situation, we have a number of people that are in the group and will just pop up every so often and
I think
give
that
us
just
something.
means. Actually, I think that might just mean that I've never actually messaged Rich personally,
You've
because I
never
think all the
messaged
other
him.
ones are. Well, that's just because I use the app, right? I very, very rarely use Slack on my computer.
All right. Yeah,
Um,
of course.
and so it's got all the channels on the left, and then direct messages, and so I could direct message Slackbot. I don't know what that does, but yes, okay. So there are 11 of us.
And it's quite
Uh,
a. I mean, there's 4 Englishmen.
no, there's more than that.
Well,
There's me,
Rich.
you, Alex, Adam, Rich. So that's 5.
Okay.
I
So I
mean,
mean,
well,
it's.
and then I mean, we say that. CC says he's Welsh. He's got no accent. He's clearly English. Harble rather. Harble.
Well,
Well,
Deck,
yeah, he
yeah.
might be Irish. Again, Fred says he's French. Pretty sure he's English.
He puts the accent on.
Absolutely, and it's a terrible accent as well. We've all heard it. Nero. I mean, it's.
Well,
I
he's
shouldn't, yeah.
too obsessed by the Southern Hemisphere rugby
No, I
to
know,
be a
but, I
real
mean,
Englishman. To be honest
yeah.
with you,
So
that's why we
really,
brought
I mean,
him
the
on.
only real foreigners are Harble, who I'm pretty sure is actually just Brian O'Driscoll, Fovo and Barbs.
Yeah,
And no, I don't have HMFC there either. So you're right, there are 12 of us.
HMFC's not a foreigner. He's
Scottish. That's pretty foreign. Let's see how many people I can alienate with that comment.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Proper foreigner.
I mean, no offence. Jesus Christ. I'm not. I didn't mean with regards to foreigner. Just because I've realised that I can't see his name in my list of
Filthy
contacts.
foreigner.
Jesus.
Yeah. HMFC is a foreigner. Yep. He's Scottish. So I mean, we talk about this all the time, I think, but we've got the Welsh,
There
the
is an
Irish,
inherent
the French.
English bias.
There is,
and
because
it's not quite level. It's not granted. I mean, I might actually be wrong, because when I get into a rant, I can get proper into it, and it's very England centric. But I'd like to think we're not quite as bad as John Inverdale.
I tell you what, I like to think that out of the main contributors, people who appear on the podcast, we have 2 Englishmen that appear regularly, as in us 2.
Yeah.
And then the rest are pretty much from around
Foreigners.
the world.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
We do need to entice Bobs back, though, because I don't think it's quite a year since he was last on, but probably pushing it.
I think he's always open to the idea of coming back. I think if we just went, look, do you want another? Like, something needs to happen.
We might
with Australia.
we might want to wait until Australian rugby picks up a touch.
Yeah, it needs to do something. Also, this is something that we've not discussed at all, and I've just gone out on a limb. I messaged a South African YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
On YouTube because he posted one of his videos onto the subreddit.
Oh right.
And one of our fans posted, "You guys should do. He should come on your show."
Oh right, yeah.
I thought to myself, I mean, this guy's South African. He has an interest in rugby.
I mean, quite frankly, we have no standard, and we'll let anyone on. But if someone who actually knows their shit wants to come on, then yeah, even better.
I have as the producer of the show, I have standards. Okay.
In fact, that kind of I'm sure Fov said that he had. Didn't he have a Kiwi friend who lives over here and would be our first girl if we ever got her on?
Was that Fov? I thought that was Rich. I was in contact. I mean, we don't need to. I was in contact with a couple of girls who wanted to.
Because it would be nice to have like just even a little bit another perspective on the sport. And so, however we can get that perspective, I think is.
So yeah, I'm gonna send this email to get. I think it's gonna be Gareth on the show. So, if we get him on, he will give an insight into how South Africans are feeling on the ground in South Africa.
And I can assure them that there's nothing to be worried about, because by the World Cup time.
Exactly.
I tell you what, though,
explain to him what he should be feeling. That's
exactly,
what people love. People love to hear those sorts of things.
South Africa won the sevens, and there's still at least one round left.
And they've already won.
Yeah, they are.
I know the Scots got beat in the final because they beat us in the semi-final.
Yeah.
I was quite happy with the Scots losing, to be honest, after they beat us.
Yeah.
Can't.
Though
can't
I
have the
kind of,
Scots be that
I
successful.
often feel that if someone beats us, I'd like them to win the whole thing to show that we were beaten by the best team. But I suppose I can see both sides of it.
It's a mix, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I actually need to disappear off.
Oh, right, you're already leaving.
Do you want to discuss your hatred of the Welsh one more time?
Absolutely,
No, don't. We'll leave it.
How funny was that? Yeah, the whole Samson Lee with the neurosurgery thing. That was.
Oh yeah, CC just laying in Samson Lee. God, so uncalled for.
Absolutely.
Can't believe the.
How small is his face, though? I mean, really, it's just. I don't get it. It's bizarre. It's
no.
I've got to get one or two in. Honestly, we could bring up the Lions. That could open up a justice for Joe. Oh, poor Launchbury.
I'm seeing a lot of really, really what I would describe as high-profile pundits.
Yeah.
Sincerely discussing the idea of Halfpenny starting against New Zealand.
What? Are they actually?
And I'm just thinking to myself, no, please, just don't. They're so focused on defence, and I think it's such a Northern Hemisphere attitude to go, we need someone to tackle Sevilla. How about it's very difficult to tackle Sevilla? Let's try and run round him.
Quite frankly, I'm not even sure I trust Halfpenny to actually successfully tackle Sevilla, because I know he's known for his defence and his kicking, but his defence has properly fallen off a bit. I mean, it's not what it was.
He shoves his head in the.
And granted, I've been one of the biggest. What's the right way to put it? Detractor maybe of Stuart Hogg, because I love him. I think he's a brilliant player. But I mean, granted, while I do think his defence needs to be more up to scratch, I'm not. But I don't think the answer to that is actually switching him out for Halfpenny.
Anyway, there's genuine discussion about it, and I'm just.
Are we going to do a proper Have we done a position by position lines podcast yet?
We haven't. We've done.
Granted,
some things.
I mean, I bring it up because it's just another avenue for me to slag off the Welsh. But I wonder how many people think I'm being serious. Because I do get the occasional PM calling me a cunt for this.
Which I do find hilarious, actually.
I think it's mental. I can't believe someone takes it that seriously.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's
interesting. They do take it that seriously, though.
Yeah. Close it. But we've been going for a while now. Linebreak thoughts then. Seeing as you are then the producer, and I suppose you are, I'd say technically more than any of us, the kind of you are the Mark Zuckerberg of Linebreak Rugby. I think would be the
Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, because I suppose while it did start with, I suppose, a core four of us that then expanded very quickly. I do think you were the one that kind of pushed a bit more than the rest of us to. So it's what are your thoughts on the last 2 years, and where do you see us? Because hopefully this goes on for longer than 2 years. Another 2 years, but are we going to start getting press badges?
I think all of us have ambition to become more involved in the sport we love in one way or another. And
I'm looking into coaching courses.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that this, more than anything, is perhaps a stepping stone rather than an end game.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for everyone involved that we could, if we devoted a lot of time and resources, make Linebreak very successful, and we want it to be obviously the best it can be.
Yeah.
However, we are fairly realistic in the idea that we are all working separate jobs. We're all trying to do different things. Most of us, we're all trying to do different things, and it's a hobby. I said this on the other podcast. It's a hobby that we enjoy, and we love devoting time to it and doing things for it.
But in that case, do you then see a Linebreak Rugby in the future that no longer has any of us core members, but has a new team, in the way that in a similar way to Blue Peter or the Gadget Show or the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
to do it, so someone else takes over.
Well, yeah, we get we'll get new people in who then become bigger and bigger.
Say that I dropped away and you dropped away, and then it was just Nero and something.
And then they would carry on for a bit, and new people would come in, and then Nero.
It depends on the drive of the person, because I do think that you need a certain drive to do something for free.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be that core motivation that you.
Considering our primary audience is generally RugbyBonkers, and our primary introduction, I suppose is the best way you could call it, was the subreddit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are similar people to us.
Oh, certainly. We're unique in the fact that I think our rugby knowledge is quite good, and we've become friends through the sub. So we're reasonably unique that we've made friends online through a forum, because I don't think everybody does that. But we're not unique in certain other ways. We are. I mean, there's a million Redditors out there, and there's definitely a couple out there that have a similar point of view. I mean, we've become friends with most of them.
Yeah.
Certainly, every time I bring something up, I know that Rich will have a very similar point of view to me. And
well, technically, you're both Exeter fans, so clearly you've got the exact same thing wrong with you, and so you kind of relate on a.
But it is surprising how our responses to things that happen are always the same. I think it's a.
I suppose a lot of that might also come down to the fact that we are all, fairly similarly aged, similarly minded.
Yeah. And
we are our very own hive mind, just mini.
Mini. For sure, we're a concentrated dose.
The real
rugby.
test is if we ever get Reddit RFC off the ground, the real test will be seeing how that goes and
if you let's just mention it now, because I'm going to put the music over the top of this bit and we're going to leave. If you are genuinely interested in, because we're going to do it anyway probably, meeting up, having a barbecue, having a drink, throwing a ball around in a park, and having maybe a game. It depends how many people turn up.
Either it could just turn into 40 people going on the lash after a kick.
Comment below if you're interested. We are planning on doing something on the subreddit and trying to get a bunch of people over the summer to meet up and have some fun.
If not this summer, then next summer, because I'm pretty sure the subject was broached before last year. Originally.
One way. I want to do this summer.
I just want to do it. Now. Period. And if we can get it done once, it means there is every possibility we could have it happen again.
100%. And comment if you're interested. And it's been 2 years. It's been fun, and I think it's going to keep being fun.
There is something I want to bring up, which is almost a 2-year-old idea. Well, no, because there is one more thing. I did bring this up about
the World Union.
Yeah, about 22 months ago, before the 2015 World Cup. I had the idea of doing some kind of video project, which originally wasn't a part of Linebreak. I just figured I'd organise it and then get Sav to do all the digital and audio work on his computer, because I don't know how to. But I'd love to have a thing where people video themselves. They don't have to be, wearing a rugby shirt or in front of their stadium or whatever, but that'd be nice. If a New Zealander can force their way into Forsyth Bar, or if a Welshman can sneak their way into the Millennium or whatever. If they can just, film themselves recording a couple of lines or just a couple of words from World in Union, which is basically rugby's anthem. Ed, I'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, and we'll record I think we'll record an advertising video for it.
Yeah, we can do that. It'll probably work.
Yeah,
I do want to make an actual new thread of it on the sub as well, but I've not got around to doing that yet.
Oh, we'll do it. Let's do it. Right. Yeah. It's been Linebreak Rugby. It's been 2 years of nonsense. And what was our original slogan?
What do you mean original slogan? How do you mean? We used to be we were talking about something else in rugby or whatever.
It's like a pub chat, but with less coherence.
Oh no, it was. You said that if you can't, you said in the old, I don't know whether it was the intro or the outro, but you said that if you can't understand us, it's probably the language barrier. And I was always annoyed at that, because I always thought it would have been funny to say, if you can't understand us, it's your fault, or something like that.